Yeah, no, it was a good discussion outside, and then I thought, oh, this should all be recorded.
Yes.
Yeah, and also we think about the discussion we were just having before we went outside. Fundamentally, we were asking about, we started asking, you wanted to ask about the principles, and we haven't even got to each principle yet. And to be honest, it's probably unlikely we're going to be able to discuss that in the time we've got left today.
Yep.
Because it's more important really at this stage for most people who hear about principles is to understand the application of them requires an emotional engagement, a humility-based engagement and a truth-based engagement with the principles, and also a lot of reflection upon oneself.
Yes.
You know, what's going on for me and what am I trying to avoid by enforcing a principle?
Yeah.
So when you were talking about wanting to enforce principles in the family, you can see straight away from our discussion and also from the questions that we've already answered that it's going to be quite difficult unless I have some kind of connection to God's truth on the matter.
Yes.
And also to God's feelings on the matter. And this is where it's very prone to making some fairly large mistakes.
Yep.
But that being said, it's better to still
Mm.
attempt to live by the principles than it is to make no attempt at all.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and this aspirational state is very important, you know, rather than, oh, we're going to just apply this principle now and we'll be right. It's more understanding that we aspire to apply this principle and it's going to be a process
Yes.
for everyone involved.
Yes.
Yeah,
Because I think that's what happened last year. There was a group of us that was like, right, we're off to put the principles into place.
Yeah.
But actually after today, I'm like, oh, no, this needs a lot more emotional work.
Yes.
And it's going to be a humility. It's going to be a longer process than just putting some principles on the fridge and trying our best to stick to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can see too that our own interpretation of a principle is very different to God's feelings about the principle.
Yeah.
So in other words, if we look at, say, the principle of truth, for example, the average person on earth is quite relaxed with their principle of truth,
Oh, yes.
aren't they? It's sort of like, yes, well, I'll tell the truth when I have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the principle.
Yes. Yes.
Not, I'm going to tell the truth all the time, even when I don't have to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, in fact, a person who loves God would feel they had to all the time,
Yes.
right? With a few exceptions, and that is only when the will of a person is engaged in a way to not hear it.
Yes.
So in other words, if you say to me, I don't want to listen to this, I'll say, fine. But if you ask me a question, you're going to get the truth.
Yep.
Not some tainted down, manipulated version where I try to pander to your feelings and any of that. You're not going to get any of that. That would be an error on my part to do. But the average person believes opposite to that. In fact, the average person believes if I can calm you down and pander to you a bit and make you feel good about yourself and do these other which are really manipulative things where I'm really being untruthful with you, even though I don't feel all of those things.
Yep.
But if I do all of that, then you might listen to the truth. So I've had many people say to me, why are you so blunt about the truth? And I'm going, because that's the power of it, right?
Yes.
And they say, no, it's not powerful like that. They say to me, look, the real thing you need to do is you need to be gentle with the way you introduce truth.
Yeah, create an opening.
You need to sort of do it in such a way that it's very slow and very... And eventually the person arrives at it and you don't have to be so straightforward with them, you know. And, well, that to me would be lying. And in fact, God's principle is that it is lying.
Yep.
It's a manipulation of a person's emotional state, so therefore lying. And I wouldn't be able to do that. But the average person feels on earth, well, that's okay. That's how you deal with truth. You know, if you've got a tricky thing to tell your wife, you know, let's put it down to a physical tricky thing to tell your wife. Your bum's looking a lot bigger than it used to.
Yep.
Right? Just one physical thing. And you got to tell her.
Well, you don't got to tell her unless she asks.
Well, no, the average man will just not tell her, even though he thinks it.
Because he's frightened of the response.
Right, you tell her that, and where's that going to go?
Oh, not very good.
Whoa. Like, most women are taught from a very young age that your appearance is very important.
Yes.
Most women are taught, they've got to be perfect in their appearance. So that most women have some very strong emotions about this matter. And then you're raising an issue that your partner is going to have some pretty strong emotions about. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, whoa, it's like, even if she asks, does my bum look big in this?
I don't think they often say the truth.
Well, yeah, there's a danger, isn't there? From the guy's perspective, this is the way he's thinking about it. There's a danger. I tell her the truth. It's not really what she's wanting to hear right now. What she's wanting to hear is, no, you're just as good as when you were 20. Yeah. That's what she's wanting to hear. And she's wanting to hear that I'm just as much in love with your bum as I was when you were 20. That kind of thing. She's wanting to hear all that. And so, there's already, you can see a strong desire on the part of the person then to go, whoa, truth is pretty dangerous in this situation, because there's going to be an inflammation of rage and anger potentially. Mm-hmm. It's going to be pretty tricky. And a person who loves the truth won't have any of those thoughts. They'll just say no or yes. So Mary asked me, it's either a no or a yes.
Yep.
Yeah? And, if, like, the average person is asked, they go, whoa, there's a lot, this is like a minefield. is the average thought. So do I want to engage the minefield? Do I want to step on that bomb here and this bomb there and this bomb there? There's so many ways I could get myself bombed up in this particular discussion now. It's like, am I a good mum? That's another discussion, Well, there's so many tricky ways to get into that discussion and not come out of it unscathed, right? And so the average person is very, very tempted under those circumstances to tone things down, really say a lot of things, a lot of words without saying anything, even. Yeah. And even doing things like, well, it just depends on the opinions. People's opinions differ. My opinion is different to yours. So, and these are all ways to reframe the fact that you just think it's big or small or whatever, like large or little or huge problem or a little one or whatever. And frequently we're just in this place all the time, even with partners. Most people are in this place because even in the partner relationship, even there's quite some large things that you can do wrong, supposedly, with truth, that then is going to cause an inflammation. Like, what do you think of my mum and dad? I love my mum. What does Mary think of my mum? Well, and if I'm saying I do love my mum, but not my God mum is the one I love. But if I'm asking about my earth mum in this life, and I ask Mary, what do you think? And I'm attached to my mum, and I love what my mum gives me, and Mary starts making any criticism at all, it's like, now a lot of my perceptions and my feelings are all going to get triggered in one way or the other. And if I'm not humble and open to truth, that's going to be a hard conversation. So Mary then might dance around it. Well, I find your mum's got this lovely bit of her personality, but really I hate her guts. Or whatever. Instead of saying the truth, and then of course you can work on things once you say the truth, but instead of saying the truth, most people won't. So God's measure of the principle of truth is every time you do that, you're lying.
Okay. The
human measure is you're not lying. You're just withholding information. Not seeing that actually the purposeful withholding of information is lying, because it causes people to believe things other than they would otherwise believe if you had told them the truth. Yeah. Right?
But what about if the lady doesn't ask if her bum's big, but the husband is thinking that her bum's big?
Well, he'd be truthful to state it. Okay. Why would you not state it in a loving relationship? Why wouldn't, like, if I'm concerned about Mary's health, of which her bum is a factor, like if it's big, it means she's carrying a lot of weight. There's
and
fat,
it's
unhealthy. It's bad for your physical, your posture, and it's bad for your life. Really, it's bad. It's bad. Like any time we get overweight, it's bad for us. Like, so I want to know. Like, Mary tells me, yep, you got a bit around your middle now, you need to get that off, what are we doing? We need to fix this, you know. And if I say to Mary then, well, it's because you have a tendency to cook too much when I ask you to cook, because I'd prefer, when I cook for myself, I slim up, and then when Mary cooks for me, I get too big. Then we can have that argument, or it doesn't even need to be an argument, really, does it? If we both loved, it would be, oh yeah, that's what's happening, I can see what's happening, and it would be really easily resolved. But if I have my worth attached to how she feels about me, and whether she feels I'm slim or fat or whatever, and all these there's so many other things that might be attached to it. I might have a tendency then to get really angry. Or let's say I'm doing a lot of work, and that's the reason why I'm not doing much exercise. I'm saying, yeah, but it's because I'm working for you all the time, and you know, you demand all these things from me all the time, and you want all this money all the time, and that's why I feel like I've got to do it, and I get pretty unhealthy doing it. It's all your fault, really. You know, that kind of thing. These kind of arguments can happen because love, the love principle, isn't engaged at the same time as the truth principle. So therefore, the truth is not really truth either.
Okay.
It's really an attack. It's really an unloving attack, right? And unfortunately, this is what most of us have experienced in our childhood from others. Whenever truth was mentioned, it was when people were at their wits' end with us.
Yes.
When they were so annoyed by us that their polite behaviour was no longer able to be maintained.
Yep.
That's when they told us the truth. And it shouldn't be like that. It should be you're able to tell the truth daily, hourly, minute, you know, at all times, because then, and there's, you know, then once that happens, you're comfortable with it. You expect it.
Yeah.
It's desired. Yeah, for your own good as well as for the good of the other. The person gets the thing they're feeling off the chest, and you're also, so they're not going to store all their rage and their anger about it, right? And then also you've got a chance then to make changes yourself as well and make adjustments, which you might not have made if you didn't know what the truth was.
Yep. Because I think a lot of people have thoughts in their head that's their truth, but they don't actually verbalize it because they're frightened of the outcome or
it's always
conflict.
Fear. Yeah. Always fear. And for most, in most relationships, there's fear of violence, there's fear of projection. You know, projection is a violence, and there's fear of it. Like if the man who gets all sulky, that's a projection. If the woman gets all like, you know, withdrawn, that's a projection. And in a relationship, most of the time, we control another person through our projections, not through our words. We're often saying, you know, and the other person feeling like, oh, like I've got to change my behaviour now to suit that projection. And these things are really violent, from a God's perspective, are violent attacks on the other person. So once you feel how God feels about projection, you would realise, I really don't want to do that, because it is, from God's perspective, a violent attack on the other person. God measures it the same way as a physical punching in the face, pretty much. So, you know, God's laws with regard to these kind of matters are very fine. You know, they're very, like, in tune with love. And quite often we've got so much tolerance of unloving behaviour, even in a relationship, that we don't see any of these things.
Yeah.
So with truth, though, one of the things is to learn how to say it without being upset, without being angry, without being bitter, without being disappointed, without being, you know,
trying to manipulate
or control the other person. And
well, if in every case, then you're not in harmony with the truth principle anyway, because there's some investment you have in how it's going to be received. Either you want to change, or you want to feel powerful over your fear. That's why you're getting angry, or you're telling them for some motive that's not just, this is the truth.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You have some other motivation that's not love.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So if and that would happen. So like, let's just say we're in a relationship and you can see the other person's sulking because you've given them some truth, and now they're sulking even more. Or
just because they didn't get an addiction met, so they're sulking.
So they're sulking, and then you say to them, hey, I can feel that you're sulking because of this. Like maybe you've got some anger that you want to go and feel, and they go, no, I'm not angry.
No, how you said it is already untruthful.
Okay.
It's not maybe you got some anger.
You have. You have anger.
You have anger. It's not maybe. It's not. So you're trying to be polite, right?
Yes.
And this is what the average person does. They try to be polite about it. Well, no. you're sulking, that is a violent projection. It's unloving. Deal with it. Or don't, and I won't be in your company anymore.
So the truth is direct.
Yeah.
Direct but loving.
Yeah. And in fact, a person who's really loving would just probably leave the environment completely without even saying a word if nobody wanted to hear the word. They'll just leave and then wait until the person asks, why did you leave? Well, because you were sulky all the time. And until you stop doing that, I'm not coming back.
Yep.
It's not a loving thing to do. It's a violent thing to do towards another. And so why would you approve of it on any level or even give the person any latitude to deal with it even? Like God doesn't. You know, you break a law with God and there's an immediate penalty, bang, every time. So God doesn't give you latitude to say, oh, I'm working on it. It's not like that. And love doesn't give you latitude to say, I'm working on it. And in fact, most people who say they're working on it aren't. Right?
God definitely has mercy when we are sincerely working on it.
Correct.
Okay.
So
mercy comes from when we're in a repentant state, not in a self-delusional denial state of saying I'm working on it when I'm not.
When you're not, okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
So this is where if you understand some of the principles of love, like repentance, forgiveness and these kind of principles, you can see where even in a relationship we're often not living in harmony with them. Yep. And of course, by not living in harmony with them, we're creating more problems for ourselves. And when two people are not living in harmony, it's even worse. Like it's better if one at least does it.
Yep.
But if both of us are not doing it, then Mary's going to be making compromises here and there regarding the principles, and I'm going to be making compromises regarding the principles. We're going to have so many issues that we just hide and cover over. But eventually what happens is there's a build-up. Every time a law is broken, there's a build-up of pressure, like a pressure cooker. And sooner or later, something has to happen to let the pressure cooker release. And that release is usually violent. And when I say violent, it becomes violent. Like our next door neighbours this morning. We're yelling and screaming at each other, swearing at each other and everything because the pressure cooker had built up to the point where now they're yelling and screaming and carrying on with each other so much because they weren't able to tell the truth in a different state.
Yeah. In the first place. So they're keeping it to themselves, keeping it, and then all of a sudden, bang.
And he was saying all this stuff about her bad behaviour, and she was saying to him all the bad behaviour, and then he got even more enraged because he wasn't getting his addiction met, and she got even more angry with him, and it just went on for maybe 10 minutes or 15 minutes where they're just swearing and carrying on with each other. And it was all fundamentally because there was a build-up of pressure that happens over time because there's not truth being spoken all the time. And both parties are not comfortable with truth all the time. And so there's a build-up of pressure. And then, of course, you have these outbursts then where one little thing happens and it's like meltdown for everybody.
It's like earlier where we were talking about the plumbing. You know, you can wait for the crisis to learn the plumbing, or you can learn the plumbing and then when there's a problem,
apply it.
You know how the plumbing works, so you can fix it. So it's the same with truth. You can wait till there's a big problem arise in your relationship and suddenly be truthful, or you can take it on as a project in your relationship and we're going to learn to be truthful with each other from now. And then when there's a dispute or a crisis or something, we'll be comfortable with truthfulness with each other and we'll understand it. Often we don't take on these principles like something we're going to learn to apply when there's not a problem, when there's not some pain.
Yes.
You know, and yet if we do, then when the problems arise, we have a lot of frameworks, if you like, that can help us resolve issues a lot more rapidly, a lot more peacefully, and bring about better outcomes. Because half the time, as you know, when you get to a dispute, then you're like, oh, the principles, I have to be truthful, but I'm so triggered, but I should be humble.
I'm so enraged.
Now I'm angry. But is that because I'm afraid? And now, and it's you're always doing this, but I know I do things. And then, and because you haven't dealt with any of that stuff, on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And so by Sunday, you're like, like, or, you know, a month into it, you're like, whereas if you in the quieter moments practice, you're like, how do I feel being truthful? Oh, I can feel something's going on with my partner. Really, it'd be best to be truthful now, and rather than letting it go for 3 or 4 days, or distracting myself, or do something, distract him so that he doesn't feel so sulky right now. Have sex so everyone's happy again, you know, and instead of just saying, hey, I'm sensing something here for you, or I'm not feeling comfortable here, and be really truthful before it blows up into this mushroom cloud of drama.
Yes. Yeah. And that goes with friendships as well, because I see that quite often.
Every
with friends
friendships,
and
children relationships, parent relationships, every relationship.
Yeah.
Really, work relationships. You're far better off having an explosion happen earlier than later.
Yeah.
Because a later explosion has a build-up of power behind it. Mm-hmm. The earlier the explosion occurs, the less power there is in it generally. So it's like, well, you're better off having, if you need an argument, you're better off having it right now rather than putting it off for later.
Yeah, because then all the horrible stuff will come out as well.
Yeah, and people have this build-up of history that happens over months usually, where they're still resentful about that thing 3 months ago, and they're still resentful about that thing 2 months ago, and they're still resentful about the last 10 years because they were cooking and cleaning all that time and the other person wasn't, and they're still resentful. He's still resentful that he's had to go to work that all the time and she's never done that, and you know, he's still resentful, or she's still resentful that, you know, she's having to look after all the finances, he doesn't care and he just goes and spends money or whatever, and all this resentment, no truth being spoken. All this resentment builds up over time, and so by the time a little tiny thing needs to happen, like, you know, oh, I just didn't move your chair for you or something, and whammo, like you're in major meltdown, rage, anger, and it's all not really a lot of times about the thing that just happened. It's mostly about all the stored things that we've not allowed an expression of and a feeling for, and it's all fundamentally because we don't honour truth.
Yes. Yeah. So when you've got that in a relationship, let's say you've got 15 years of resentments on both sides, which I see often, what then would be the best solution for them to start going through it? Because then I see a lot of blame, you know, in that resentment.
Of course.
But they've still got it in them. And even if they put on a facade and say, okay, I'm just going to leave all that behind me.
Yeah, you
but
can't.
Then you can't. It will always come up. So what would be the best way of those people
again,
to deal with it?
principle of humility.
Okay.
You apply everything to yourself first, and you learn how to love the other person and yourself, whether they love you or themselves or not. So it's all about, am I going to love Mary? Not about whether she's going to love me. And what does God define love to be? I must say the truth all the time, but I need to say it in a kind, compassionate manner. That's what love is.
Yeah.
Like, I need to be kind and compassionate about it, but not modifying it and not going, oh, you know, and all this hesitation and make it so unclear that she has no idea what I'm talking about, or make it so angry that all she feels is attacked and abused. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So you can see that if I apply the principles of love in the way that I express truth, it's going to be relatively easy to accept. You know, what I find, like Mary and I are sharing truth with people all the time. It's very rare in the moment that a person ever gets angry with me about it.
Yeah.
In the moment.
Yeah.
You know? What happens is they usually go home and then they get angry about it. Right, because they can't feel your love for them when they're home. They can't feel, like if you imagine you're in a husband and wife situation, you're in partnership, and if your partner can feel your love for them while you're expressing a truth, rather than just feel your anger
or blame,
but they feel your love for them, then can you see it's a lot easier under those circumstances to accept truth?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That being said, even if Mary's yelling at me, telling me a truth, if I loved her, I'd be able to hear it without getting upset back. Right? Even if she was yelling at me about it. Because she might have had a build-up of frustration over many months because of my behaviour.
Yep.
And then she may have realised, I needed to say something. But because there's a build-up over many months and Mary hasn't felt her feelings about it, she might then start yelling at me about it. And if I am humble and I love her and I love truth, it's going to be so easy, even if she's angry, for me to hear it.
If you love her.
If I love her.
Yeah.
But if I love myself and my feelings and I'm trying to protect my feelings and, all I'm going to do is, you're so angry with me now, I don't want to hear it, even though I may be the cause of her anger. My behaviour may have caused her to have this build up. So she might have tried to erase it with me 20 other times and I've just said, no, I'm not talking about it or whatever. And there's been a build up of anger over time. And then I tell her, oh, you're angry now, so I'm not listening. How unjust is that? Like I've been a major cause of the reason why she's angry. And now I'm also saying, now you're angry, I'm not going to listen anyway. But that's just an excuse on me. I should have been listening before when she wasn't angry. Yeah. Right. So if a person who truly loves can go, darling, you're angry. I understand what's going on, why you're angry. I understand my behaviour was bad, and I need to do something now about it, not later. Now I need to work myself out. A person who's responsible, principle of responsibility, who loves, principle of love, who is truthful, principle of truth, will be truthful, just as truthful with themselves as they are with the other person.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm guessing if you don't go through the emotions of it, then you're just going to keep doing the same things again and again. Anyway, even if you recognise it and say, oh, yes, I recognise that, I'm very sorry about that. Yeah. But then it's just going to happen again and again unless you go through emotional reasons of why you did that. Yeah, so you really got to find out why it happened. Okay.
So it's like if I cheated on Mary, like sexually cheated on her, like it would be very unwise for her to accept me back without me working out why it actually happened. Because if I don't work out why it happened, I'm probably going to do it again.
Yep.
Even if I flirted with somebody, because that's a cheating of a kind.
Yep.
If I was sincere, I would go, oh, I've really got to work that out. Why I've done that? What's going on? What am I needing from women that causes me to want to flirt with other women other than the person I'm with? What's going on there? If I was honest with myself, I'd be able to do that and also look at myself and see all of that without hardly Mary needing to say a word, really. If the fact that she's having to say a word is already bad enough.
Yeah.
If I've been unloving, the fact that Mary has to point it out is already bad enough.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yep.
From God's perspective, it means I wasn't responsible.
Yep.
If I was responsible, she wouldn't have to say to me that I did something wrong, because I'd know I did it.
Yeah.
I think the danger when you're dealing with, because you're sort of referring to dealing with couples, is that until we're at one with each other in the soul union state with our other half, you're dealing with individuals with individual wills. And the problem with, unless at least one party is unless one party is going to be sincere about looking at themselves, about being humble, about seeking truth, about seeking a principle beyond their own values, like God's principles, then the problems are just going to keep happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There won't be ever any resolution. And the difficulty when you're doing couples therapy, or you're even as a couple saying, we've got to work this out, you do have to work some things out if you want to stay in a partnership, but it does require at least one of you being sincere about things. And there's a tendency in all this couples talk to disperse the responsibility to this nebulous thing that is the couple and our partnership and the issues we have, rather than saying, I've got issues. You've got issues. We've got to deal with our issues, each of us, then things will work better.
Got to deal. We've got to want to deal.
That's the thing. That's unless you want it, you're never going to.
Because, unless I really want to deal with my stuff, Mary's going to have to continue, if she's living in a loving relationship with me, she'll have to continue raising the same issues over and over again. Now, it's not loving for her to do that. God wouldn't do that. So she would have to leave the relationship just because I don't want to, right? If I really want to, she can mention anything to me. And it can even be wrong. And it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
If I really want to look at myself and I really love and I really want to love and I really want to listen to truth, she can mention something to me and I can be calm and considered. And even if it's completely false, I'll still not be offended, not, be angry with her about it, not feel resentful, not take it on to the next day,
Yep.
I'll be able to calmly raise with her the issues involved as to why I feel that's not correct, but I won't be in a way of trying to gaslight her or dismiss what her feelings are. So I'll recognise her feelings and why they're there. If I love her, I'll even know why she feels the way she feels, even if it's wrong, because I'll want to know. Because I love her. Like, I want to know because I want to help, right? And then if I know, and I'll have the same feeling about it myself, I want to know when I do things wrong. I want to understand, no, that was out of line. I want to see, wow, I did the wrong thing there, and I want to know why and how, and, you know, this is the way to a completely happy relationship, but also the way to a really strong one. As well, like where you feel, and if you're two soulmate halves, you are not going to survive. If you're a soulmate couple, you are not going to survive your relationship without this truth, without this level of truth, right? A relationship that's not a soulmate couple will not survive the relationship ever. Ever. The reality is, at some point in the future, the relationship's going to fail. God designed any relationship that you don't have with your soulmate to fail.
Any relationship you do.
Sorry.
It's the double negative thing. I got a bit turned around.
Any relationship that is not with your soulmate
will fail.
Will fail.
Yeah.
God designed it to fail on purpose so that you could be the happiest you could possibly be with your soulmate. Because your soulmate has the same nature, personality as you, and you're going to be eventually as the happiest with them than you are with anyone else. They are the other half of you. It's not even a relationship. It's a design, you could say, feature. A design feature. You're half of one soul. That's a design feature of your soul, right? And anytime one half of the soul wants a sexual relationship with somebody outside of that soulmate relationship, then obviously that's not how you've been designed to function. And sooner or later, through the process of you dealing in truth with each other, you'll find that out.
Yeah.
You'll work all that out as well. And the key is to not be afraid of all that.
Yeah.
The key, fear just causes you to not do it. Yeah.
Because I would imagine there's a lot of couples at the moment that are not in soulmate relationships.
Most people on earth. Very rare in any auditorium that we go to even meet one soulmate couple that are actually soulmates.
Yeah.
Very rare. I think one time we were in England, I think it was last year, I said there's only one couple in this room that actually is a soulmate couple. Yeah. And that's very common. It's the reason why it's so common is because everyone's got their addictions, and most people meet and engage on their addiction level rather than a soulmate level. And most people then are so focused on keeping their addictions that they don't even want to know who the other half is. And yet, remember we said earlier, principle of truth. A person who loves truth wants to know things.
Yeah.
So if I don't want to know who my soulmate is eventually, then I've got a problem with lying to myself. I'm out of harmony with that principle. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
So, and when it comes to how you've been designed and how you operate and how love works and all these things, there are truths that govern all those things. And those truths will determine, if I live in harmony with them, will determine the level of happiness I experience. When I break the laws governing those truths, I am consigning myself to future pain and suffering. Right? So truly loving relationship, which is not soulmates, but a loving relationship, they'd work through issues, be honest with each other, until the point that they realise we don't like the same things. We don't enjoy each other's personality that much. There's other people's we don't feel like we're the same person anymore. Like we don't feel joined in this regard. And you'd naturally want to go out and find out who is the other half when you're at that stage, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And so it would be just a calm and considered and loving, even if you've got children, loving. Should we call it a breakup? Because you'd probably still stay friends because you love each other.
Yeah.
You care about each other just like you care about everybody. So you'd still be friends and everything. It wouldn't be any, I'm going to take you to court now and I'm going to take half of your stuff and you're going to take half of mine. We're going to argue about what that is. And none of that would actually happen.
Yep.
if you're loved and if you were truthful and honest all the way through the process. And you've got to let that process happen. If you are soulmates and you're truthful, you'll get stronger, until the thing that binds the soulmate halves together is truth. The whole reason why everybody on earth is separate from their soulmates, or most people are, is because of the lack of truth. Each half not accepting God's truth. So you've got to have confidence in these things, have some faith that God's good. He's leading you down the road to your personal happiness. It's going to be great. And even if you have to break up from the relationship you're in, well, that's going to be great too, because you'll get a relationship where you actually, in the end, meet the other half of yourself and you go, wow, this is a lot different relationship now. This is like I'm talking, and feeling the other half of myself now. And it's a completely different type of relationship than most people on earth have ever experienced. But it also leads to bliss. That's part of what bliss is, being in a constant emotional, spiritual and sexual union and physical union with the other half. Yeah, that's what a large part of bliss is. Yeah, and so, have some confidence that this is where you head, and you get there by truth principle, and also, of course, humility principle, being humble, learning how to feel without blame, learning how to feel and work through your own things, feeling confidence in yourself that you can feel your feelings and work through your feelings well, that you don't need another person to satisfy your unhealed feelings. All of these things are good for you.
Yep.
Yeah, and you come out of all that feeling much stronger, much more able. And by the way, your physical body will have less disease as well as a subsequent result of all of these things being done in harmony with love and truth.
Yeah. Sounds wonderful.
Well, for the average person, it doesn't sound wonderful, because it sounds like they're going to head for a breakup.
Yeah, true.
And the average person looks at that and goes, this is bad.
Yeah.
He splits up families.
Yeah. But also now we're kind of taught as well, like, to stay with the family, and, the kids will be happy with the family unit together. So there's quite a lot of pressure as well to
and fundamentally,
together.
what is a family? Because your children are not your family.
Yeah.
Your children are somebody else's family. They will grow up and become adults, and they'll enter a union with somebody else. They're somebody else's family. What you call your children, they're God's children, and they're going to create another family, not yours.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of people want to keep all that family stuff together, but it's good for them to create another family. It's good for them to have their soulmate union. Their soulmate union is their family.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, all of us, our true family is our soulmate union. Then the fact that all of us are brothers and sisters. Like, you're my family, really, right? You, Andy, your partner, your husband, he's my family too. And whether people like me or not, they're my family too.
Yeah.
Right? And we're all equals in God's eyes, so we're all brothers and sisters. But this bond is unique, because it's the other half of me. That's a unique Mary, the other half of me, I and the other half of Mary. That's a unique bond. That is the true family that God designed. And everything else is just opportunities God gave you to get to know other children of God. Yeah. And it's very important to see it that way too. And this is, if you think about it, there's so much emphasis on children in a family.
Yes.
That frequently the relationship between the two halves, the parents, is absolutely destroyed by the focus on the children.
Yeah.
And that's because all of us fundamentally have this idea that the children make the family.
Yes.
They don't.
Yeah.
This makes the family.
Yes, yeah.
Without this, the children won't even happen.
Yeah.
Yeah?
For sure.
So this makes the family,
Yeah.
and the children just join the family for a short period of time until they make their own family. And then they go off and make their own family, and they then have their own children, and those children, your grandchildren so-called, are part of that family until such a time they go off and make their own family. And then everybody's... And this is a constant thing that's happened earthwide and also in the spirit world, where you realise This bond is the bond, the family bond. This bond is a brother and sister bond, right? God's children family bond. This bond is other half of me bond, completely different bond.
Yeah.
Right. This one is the most important bond, more important than us having children. It's more long term. It lasts longer. You have a child, and how long does that last? They get to what, 15, 20 nowadays, 20 probably. And well, nowadays, it's hard to know, isn't it? Because they get so
Portugal
reliant.
even, in Portugal even more.
That's right. But, get to 20, they're off.
Yep.
Yeah, and what do most parents feel?
Oh yeah, sad and rejected. And, oh wow, I've spent all this time looking after them.
Yeah.
What do I do now?
What do I do?
now?
Yeah. Well, who am I?
What's my purpose of
My
living
life
now?
is sort of over now.
Let's go and have some more kids. Often happens. But if that doesn't happen, what happens? Let's get involved with the grandkids. Let's turn them into our family too. Let's force our will onto them and mould them a bit now. Not respecting the role of our children to do such things.
Yes.
And this all happens because we have these addictions involving family that are not based upon truth, the truth principles that God has created the reality, and we just need to learn what that reality is.
Yeah, there's a lot of, as well, sort of like courses and ideas like that at the moment where it's all child-led, child-centred. And so I think that also stops a lot of people from being in truth because they're thinking of the children all the time.
No, it's worse than that because it's not just child-led or child, but the children are being puffed up to believe that a failure is as good as a success. And this is not true. Like, if you design a plane and it falls out of the sky, that's not a success. That's a failure, right? So stop telling your children when they're 5 that just because they completed the test, it was a success.
Yeah.
Right? They need to get the answers right in order to be a success.
Yeah.
And also stop treating them like a failure is the worst possible thing to know about, because it's not. When you fail things, then you know, that didn't work.
Yeah.
And that's good to know that it didn't work. So you want children to have failures in their childhood rather than waiting until an adult to realise they have failures in a lot of areas of their life. Because otherwise they'll become adults who are doing things like building planes and be happy with failures.
Yeah.
And also the other thing with child-led parenting or education is that oftentimes I feel there's an emphasis on enabling the child's desires, their curiosity.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is good.
Which is a good thing. But there's no emphasis on self-responsibility in that child and consequences for, dealing with we're going to embrace your desire, but you have to be responsible for getting the resources together to make that desire happen. If the desire goes badly, we're going to deal with the mess that's made and the consequences
and
that
you're
are
going
there.
to fix the mess.
It's not, if it's your desire, there's consequences of your desire and you have to deal with those consequences as well.
Yep.
Be involved in the creation and the consequence of everything.
The outcome.
And what it's actually doing is teaching the child the way that it is in this injured state where there are no consequences, is that the child's desire becomes the most important thing in the education or the family, and there's no consequences, there's no sense of understanding how desires are enacted, and the child
or the right and wrong of them.
Yes, the morality of them. And the child ends up with this feeling of almost being godlike themselves.
Yes. Yeah.
And being more important, at least more important than the rest of the parent or the teacher, but even in the end, society.
Yes.
And this becomes a very problematic moral issue in all of our societies now.
Yeah.
And the bad thing is that parents are being told that this is a loving thing to do.
Yes.
When actually it is loving to help a child to understand the power and the potential of their desires, but we must do that in a very responsible way so that they understand there's things involved in enacting my desire and it's all got to come from me. And I've got to deal with, is it a loving desire? And if I make a mistake, I've got to fix it.
And also, is it in harmony with God's reality? Is it in harmony with truth? Because if it's not in harmony with truth, then obviously it's just going to cause trouble.
Yep.
right? So you can have desires that cause plenty of trouble,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of children now who are turning into teenagers now who desire to have sex with as many people as they can. And that's going to cause them a lot of trouble, and also cause the people they're having sex with lots of trouble.
Or desire to change their whole gender.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mutilate
Yeah.
their own body in
Yeah.
order to have sexual expression. That's going to cause them a lot of trouble in their future, and no one's being honest about it.
Yeah. And the
So-
parents actually encouraging it
Yeah,
a lot of the time.
Yeah, oftentimes. And so, these problems are obviously going to be more severe if we're not in harmony with God's reality, how God created us to be. What God created us to be is the truth. And if we're in harmony with the truth principle, we will want to know how God created us to be, and we want to work towards knowing that at all times. But you did say before the break,
Yeah, that's what I just want to go on to now, about technology.
you want to do the tech thing.
Yeah, so yes, where God's principles and technology, because one of the things that I hear from parents a lot, and myself, is we haven't been in a society before where we've had to deal with children and technology and phones and computers and laptops.
It's not really true. TVs were technology, and our generation had to deal with that.
Yeah, that's true. But I guess with the TV, I mean, back in my day, it was like 3 channels. That was it. Most of them were.
But
and then you turn it
and
off,
white.
and off you go.
Yeah, but I was the kind of kid that got up and watched the test pattern on the telly until the cartoons came on at 6 a.m. and drove my parents nuts. And to the point where my parents decided we're going to get rid of the telly and not getting one until he's 18. And that's what they did. Because I was so bad with it.
Yeah.
And it taught me, I was pretty bad with the addiction of watching the telly, that's, and it taught me also to go and do things outside and a lot of other things. So historically, most of us have had to deal with technology before.
Yeah.
There's just new technology, and it's having more of an intrusion
Yes.
into day-to-day life than it ever has before.
Sure, they've got this thing that they take around everywhere,
Yeah.
and it's just
You
glued
can't
to them.
take a big telly, a cathode ray oscilloscope with you everywhere you go,
Yeah.
but you can take a little mobile phone and still do the same thing with it.
And also what I find is, it could be stereotyping, but I'm seeing a lot of girls being attracted to like social media.
Yeah.
Like look at me kind of addictions, and then the guys are kind of going off into their room and video games or interacting with people, porn, or interacting with their mates, but only through video games.
Correct.
So how would you suggest the parents, what do we do about the technology in the homes? Because especially if they've already had a phone.
Well, now you're asking me for my suggestions.
Okay, sorry, God's suggestions.
What's God's?
Not yours, God's.
What's God's principles? And I can make suggestions based on God's principles. Yep. But what are God's principles, firstly?
Yeah.
Well, don't you, that if a person sits down a lot and just looks at a screen a lot, they have major developmental problems that occur for the rest of their life, pretty much. So straight away that giving them such devices is unloving. So why are you giving them? Now, a lot of parents then say, because it's safe, it helps them be safe. That's the parent's fear of the child's lack of safety, for a start. So, no, you're giving them because you're feeling unsafe, that they have so much autonomy, and you're trying to control their autonomy. Functionally, that's what's going on. So why do you even give them one in the first place? If it's going to be used as a tool, like a hammer, where I can call mum and dad occasionally, or call people I know occasionally and have a decent conversation with them, then it's a tool. If it's going to be used to feed their addictions, God's rule is take it away. Don't feed people's addictions. What are people's primary addictions? To be approved of, to be accepted, to be agreed with, to be... So this is social media. That's why it all exists. That's why these companies are the biggest companies in the world. And they control a lot of behaviour on the world. They even control what happens with regard to other events on the world to a large degree. Many of them even create events purposefully in order to get more adherents to their social media. Right? They're evil, many times, corporations that are running these places, right?
Yep.
Not loving. It's all about dominating the free will of as many people as possible so they can make money off of as many people as possible. And by giving your child a mobile phone, you're fundamentally accepting that will happen. You're promoting it, actually, happening.
Enabling it.
Enabling it.
Equally, if you're going to restrict your child's mobile phone,
What about yours?
what about yours? And what about your addiction to approval and attention and being liked? And
Well, you got to deal with that first.
You have to deal with those addictions within yourself if you're going to withdraw the device that your child is using to meet those addictions that you've created. So
You were born in the days, yes, where there was just a hardwired phone.
Yep.
How many times did you use it in a week?
Oh, not much, because my mum wouldn't let me because we were so poor. So
There
we
were
had to write down every single number we called.
Yeah,
and
we
if
had a
it was
phone. I
full.
can't even remember using one until I was 18.
Yeah.
We had a
I
phone
used
from
to
the
use
time
it
I was about 12 to about 18.
when I got to high school and I had a best friend for
Then
the
you
first
used it.
time. Yes.
Yeah.
Then we would get home from school and call each other.
Yeah, well, nobody liked me that much to call me, so that might be one reason why. But you know,
And then it was very thrilling if a boy called you
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
during dinner. The shame.
But can you see the point I'm making is that it was not as accessible,
Not at all.
Well,
and
it-
also you didn't need it to be
No.
either, and also you liked face-to-face better than phone. I don't know about you, but I always
Oh,
preferred
definitely,
face-to-face better
definitely.
than phone.
The phone was a bit scary like that.
Yeah, I hated
Yeah.
the phone because you'd have to pick it up and you'd have to guess the person's feelings. Are they really saying what they feel? You'd have to try to feel them, and if you can't do that, then what are they really saying to you? And you know what I mean? It was hard, but when you're face-to-face, it's like, I know exactly what's going on now.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to communicate.
And there
to
was one for the
relate.
whole family. So
Oh,
everyone
yeah.
who lived
Everyone
in the
shared
whole,
it.
you had to
Definitely.
share
You
it.
didn't have enough money to go and buy a $600 phone for every member of the family.
No way.
You know? It
And
was,
also, if you made arrangements, that's what I always think. If you made arrangements, you just stick to it.
Yeah.
That's
if you'd
right.
say, "I'll meet you,"
it's
at
not like
3
I'm getting
o'clock.
out of it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
made it. I'm going.
I'm going.
Yeah, that's
you
right.
can't just text
Yeah.
someone and say, I'm
Yeah.
cancelling.
But also there was other advantages too, in the sense that you learnt that you needed to work for things, and you also learnt that you needed to interrelate with people in order to get things done, not just talk about it on a phone, but actually do something. You learnt a lot of things that now children are not learning.
Yeah.
So what we're finding when we meet people is that most children have very lacking in emotional and social development, even by the time they're teenagers. Something that years ago was unheard of, really,
Yeah.
to be lacking in social development when you were 7.
Yep.
Right now, people who are 15 are lacking in social development because of all of this tech that's been introduced into life, and because parents fundamentally are not bringing up their children in harmony with God's principles.
Yep.
Yep. And so when you look at all the tech, the question, there's a lot of principles involved, like how much of that tech is using the world's resources. You know, many people are replacing their mobile phone every 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you remember the handheld phone we had? I can't ever remember my parents replacing it,
Oh no.
right? In fact, now that I think about it, I still have one phone that was my parents', and I can still use it. That's how long that tech lasted.
Yeah.
So in other words, it didn't use very much of the Earth's resources. Right? But now, by replacing every few years, I'm using lots of the Earth's resources. I'm breaking principles there. I'm also using lots of power. That uses lots of the Earth's resources. That's breaking principles there. I'm also using it for personal addictions. That's breaking principles regarding truth, love, and humility, and a lot of other principles. Then I'm also using it to like feed my fears frequently. Like that's why people are on it all the time, on social media all the time, is to feed my fears. That's breaking principles, God's principles. So when you look at, there's other things I must mention. The mobile phone bosses you around.
Yeah.
That's breaking a principle of free will. It's telling you when you should do this, when you should update that, when you should use this app, when you should download that app, what you should download, how you should use it. It's not letting you make choices. It's actually forcing you to turn things off rather than turn them on, right? All of that's out of harmony with love. So the programmers of these phones are out of harmony with love too.
Yeah.
And by buying one, you're fundamentally and then promoting the usage of it in an unloving manner, you're fundamentally feeding all of that system. So I understand you're having a phone just for the sake of communication. Like my phone, I have a usage report. I use it 1 minute a week. When we have these events, we have to have it now because of the tech to talk to turn on recordings, and so we have it for that. So then I use it the entire time that's here, but I'm not actually using it, am I? The tech's using it, but I'm having to have it for that. And the only other time I use it for is, unfortunately, I had to buy one. I didn't want to buy one, but I had to buy one because the bank wouldn't let me access my money anymore without one.
Yeah.
So fundamentally, I couldn't even access funds anymore without one. So I had to buy one for that purpose. But it's a machine. So I'm going to make it last as long as it can possibly last, because it's using resources, and I'm going to use it as least as I possibly can.
Yeah.
Because fundamentally, a face-to-face interaction is going to be better than any interaction I can have on that.
Yeah.
Now, it's really handy when we're travelling, because as you know, Mary contacts you, says, oh, this arrangement, that arrangement. So it's a tool for making arrangements.
Yes.
That's what it is. A tool for making arrangements, and that's it.
Yep.
Right? If you use it for any other purpose, you're going to be breaking a lot of God's laws. That's fundamentally a fact.
Yeah, I think a lot of parents maybe give lip service to worrying about technology, but equally I see a lot of parents using tech as childcare. You know, just occupy the kid, give them a screen, give them something to listen to. I watch kids in airports while we're travelling, just doing the swipe on TikTok while their parents are sitting eating. You know, there's a lot of... So I do feel that if parents are serious about these love principles and all these principles, they're also going to create environments that encourage their kids to engage with life, with their free will, with creation, with their desires in a responsible way. Because a lot of parents feel they're too busy to parent these days. You know, they're perhaps working, both parents at the moment.
To pay for the mobile phones.
To pay for the phones, to pay for the car they're going to buy their kid when they're 16. You know, like all the things that actually, they didn't have, that now they're creating addictions in their kids to have. And they're not actually placing sort of responsibility on the kids to actually engage their free will in a physical, not just moving their body, but in a way that impacts the world, impacts their life, is creative. And so I think that's a very important part of the principles that apply to this technology question, because a lot of parents worry about the effects, of some of which you raised, which are very detrimental. But what are we doing to educate kids about their free will, their responsibilities, how they're going to actually have a happy life? Because...
So how do all these children even have a mobile phone?
Usually a lot of peer pressure.
Well, no, their parents buy it for them.
Yes,
That's how it happens. Their parents go out and buy one. How much is a mobile phone?
300-400.
Yeah, it depends what country, doesn't it? In Australia, the average price is probably 700 Australian dollars. Here, 300 or 400 euros or whatever. Yep. Okay, that's a fair bit of money, isn't it?
Yeah.
How long is it going to take your child to earn that money if they went to work?
Long time.
Like, let's say they went to work and earned 10 euros an hour, you know. At $400, that's 40 hours of work. So at least they should be working 40 hours of work before they get a phone. At least that. Because otherwise you're paying for it and not them. And they're not learning any self-responsibility.
That's right. And any ongoing bills they should be paying for.
Of course. So if it's, what is it now? It depends how much data you use, I suppose, doesn't it? But say, I don't know, here, what is it, 25 euro or something a plan or for a month?
Yeah, maybe like $40 a month.
Yeah, 40 euro a month. Okay, 40 euro a month they've also got to earn. Right? And then they want you to run them to their friend's house, at which they've organised on their mobile phone.
For sure.
Yeah. How much is the fuel? How much is your time? So let's say it takes you an hour to run them there, and you go back, and then you got to go and pick them up and then bring them back. Let's say it takes 2 hours. What's your time worth? $100 an hour? $400 of time. You know, 2 hours. Let's say if it's 2 hours, $200. Okay, so $200. That's the payment that you need to make to me for me to take you to your friend's house. Now, if you're prepared to work for all that, I'm prepared to do it for you.
Great.
Does that make sense? So if you're prepared to go and buy your own mobile phone,
rich.
and you're prepared, parents would become very wealthy this way. And mind you, the children would soon realise.
They'd get a bike very quickly.
That's right. They'd soon
Or
realise.
get other parents to go and come and pick them up.
Well, this is where
You'd have to maybe.
there'd be a principle there, wouldn't there?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
you're not doing that.
Yeah.
I can't do that. They're not
Are you
responsible for your
paying
life.
that, Mum?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to pay their mum. That'll be
Yeah.
the principle. Whoever is doing the running around for you, that's who you pay. Till you get your own car. When you get 16, do I give you a car? Of course
No.
not. Why would I give you a car? Right? You're my child. I'm not going to give you a car. You're going to have to earn and buy a car for yourself. So you understand the principle that nothing, like money and also things don't grow on trees, on mum and dad trees. They come from your own desire, your own passion, your own longing to create.
Who here worked and bought your own first car?
First car.
Do you remember that car? Like, how special
yes.
was that car?
Yeah.
It was just
It was like,
wonderful.
and you sort of also get a pride in yourself, don't you?
Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah.
I
And here's
did-
my freedom
Yes.
that I...
How powerful am I?
Yes.
I got my
Yeah.
car.
Yeah.
That kind
It
of
was
thing.
a bombed out Corona, same age as me,
But
it
worked.
was mine and I
Yes.
saved for it.
And I paid for the fuel and I paid for the registration. I understood all the costs. You see, the average child nowadays becomes an adult without understanding any of these things.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
very wonderful thing, a gift you can give your child for them to understand how to create, how to obtain, how to create, how to generate a result from their desires. Very powerful thing to give a child. If you gave that to your child by the time they were teenagers, it's unlikely they'd work for somebody else in their 20s. By that stage, they'd be creating their own business, doing their own thing, wanting to live their own life. You know what I mean? They wouldn't
Yeah.
be reliant so much on other people creating their wealth, other people creating their life. They would do all of those. They'd want to do all those things naturally want to do them. And this is the problem we face with children. We break the principles, not understanding the very long-term consequences now for our children in their life. Unfortunately, I broke a lot of principles with my two sons. And my sons are now 38 and 40. 38 and 40. They're still struggling to create their own life because I broke the principles, because I didn't educate them this way, right? I tried when they were about 16, and of course there was a lot of anger
Yep.
because I'd waited too long to educate my children in harmony with the principles.
Yep.
I waited too long, and that was my biggest problem. And it's also their biggest problem now,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because the principles are not there in them yet. In the older one, Tristan, more probably, but still, and in the younger one, in some ways, more than the older one.
Different principles.
There's just different principles they've engaged by their own learning, but I wasn't responsible for educating them properly, and so that caused these problems for them now. You imagine if we change that. Imagine if whole world, as parents, we helped our children be self-responsible by the age of 7. They'd be running into their life by the time they're 15 or 16.
Yeah.
They'd be enjoying it, knowing what to do, knowing how to create, knowing what they wanted to do with their life. By the time they're in their 20s, they wouldn't be hanging around waiting for somebody else to create jobs for them. They'd be doing it for themselves. By the time they're in their 30s, they'd probably have families, helping their children grow in the same manner. And you imagine how seamless all that would be for them. They wouldn't be stressed out at the thought of having a baby. It's like, I'm responsible. I can look after them. I know how. The way I was brought up taught me how to look after my children. And so, all of these things would be easily, the problems we face would be easily corrected. So tech is really just, the reason why parents are worried about it
Yep.
is fundamentally because we're not applying the principles to it.
Yep. Yep.
We for some reason think that with the tech, the principles no longer apply. Do you know what I mean? And because of that, we don't enforce the principles with the tech, And because of that, we got all these problems that come about because of the tech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what would you say to parents who have already given their kids mobile phones?
Take them off.
Take them off.
Well, until they work to buy them back.
Get rid of your own too, maybe.
Yeah.
Unless you use it as a tool for work or something.
For work, yeah.
Why are you using it? Why are you needing it? And, of course, navigation is handy, but honestly, like 50 years ago,
We had a map.
no, I didn't. I just pointed myself in the right direction and I got there in the end through, whatever
Asking
methods.
some people.
Yeah, all sorts.
Stopping and
Having to interact with the world,
Yeah.
right, is the way I got there. So, when I say that, people go, you can't do that. It's like, what about the computer? What about the phone? What about silly? The reality is our children need to be able to get out into the world and do things.
Mm.
Anything that stops them from doing things is bad for them.
Mm-hmm.
So anything that stops them from developing is bad for them. Anything that stops them from being responsible is bad for them. So gifting them tech, rather than asking that they pay for the tech, which is exactly what you've had to do
Yeah.
to get your tech, is at least the minimal requirement. Now, I don't see any problem if the child bought their own phone through their own effort and their own desire and their own money and their own work. Now that's less problematic. That's more in harmony with the principles. Now it's all about educating them about the proper usage of it. But by the way, if they'd done all of that to get their phone, I would say by that stage they probably are more likely to use it properly.
Maybe, because I'm just thinking of Rose did that. She bought it herself. She saved for it. She did it herself because I never wanted her to have a phone. So I said, if you want one, you save for it. But she's done all that.
But how did she save?
Through working and also some Christmas money and birthday
So
money.
gifts.
And so it's gifts.
So she didn't do it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Fair
that's
enough.
true.
Yeah, but go
fair
on.
enough. So she bought it herself, and even but I can still see that there's this like really addictive pull to it.
Of course, and that's about educating your children about why there's an addictive pull to it.
Humility, principles of humility, and why they're seeking addiction.
Yeah.
Why do they need an interaction with a device through a device rather than face to face? But also, what does that interaction give them? What are they seeking from it? You need to teach your children why they want social media so much. Like, what's the point of it? What's the real point of it versus what? There's a strong manipulation on this planet about social media.
Huge.
There are huge companies making billions and billions of dollars off of you. What they're going to want to give you, how do they make billions of dollars off of you and you be willing to do it? They can only do that by feeding your addictions.
Addictions, yeah.
So you've got to teach your children about their addictions.
Yeah.
And the average parent doesn't want to teach their child about their addictions because most of the children's addictions came from
Ours.
Yeah. So the average parent, to teach their child about their addiction, would have to learn about their own. And the average parent goes, I don't want to learn about mine. I want my addictions.
I'm just worried about my kids' addictions.
Yeah, I'm just worried about this particular addiction,
Yeah.
right, of my children, without being concerned about all addictions.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is why it's a funny conversation around technology, because a lot of us grew up when mobile phones didn't exist.
Yep.
And now we've got children where you see this gravitational pull to the phone,
Yep.
and you think, oh, I didn't have that, so this must be a problem. But we don't see all the other addictions that we're still engaging in and they're engaging in that we think is fine.
Yeah. And also most parents are addicted to I'm addicted to my phone, and most parents
A
are.
lot of people are, but a lot of them
Yeah.
sleep with their phone more than they sleep with their husbands, right? Or wives. And so, it's a big problem, right? But the fundamental problem really too is when you unravel all of that is the only reason why your child wants a mobile phone is because every other child has one.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the only reason why every other child has one is because every other parent bought them one.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's total peer pressure because then I've had a few children who didn't have
Is it
phones.
peer
No, that's
pressure?
not the point.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not the peer pressure. It's the parents.
It's the parent pressure.
Okay. Yeah.
It's the parents. If every parent had said to every child, you've got to earn it, you've got to go out and work for it, I'm not giving you any gifts that are going to support you buying it, and I'm not going to pay for the bill every month either. You're going to have to pay for all of that yourself. If every person on earth, every parent on earth did that, in other words, if every parent on earth was adhered to the principle of responsibility, personal responsibility, which is one principle, how many mobile phones would be in the possession of children?
Yeah. Not as many as there are now.
Nowhere. and if all my friends haven't got one,
Yeah.
why do I want one?
Yeah.
Why do I even need one?
Yeah.
I won't need one because if I had one, I'd be the only person on social media.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be getting any likes and prop-ups on social media because none of my friends are on it.
Yeah.
Right? The reality is, as parents, we've created the problem by our willingness and also by our guilt about, it's really about our anger about our own childhoods.
Yeah.
Because in our own childhoods, we feel like I had to get this and I had to buy that and I had to work hard and I had to spend all this time working hard. And isn't it terrible that I had to? No, it wasn't terrible. It was good. But no, you think this is terrible. I don't want my children to have to go through that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to be a better parent than my parents were. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put it all on tap for them.
Yeah.
Whenever they want anything, I'll get it for them as much as I'm able. This is me being a better mum and dad than my own mum and dad were.
Yes.
This is me proving how good I am, right? My addiction to be a parent, proving how good I am as a parent compared to my own parents or whatever. And so then my own addiction causes me to go, whatever they want, I'm going to give them. Not understanding that you're creating monsters. You're creating monsters in the children, but you're also creating monsters in all. You're creating organisations all around the world who prey on children by preying on the social addictions of children. The reason why Facebook and other things are so big, and the new ones, what are they, TikTok or whatever,
and Instagram,
they're so big, is because they give children instant gratification of their emotional injuries. And so you're actually encouraging these big companies preying on your own children, and you're paying for it. Like, how bad is that? You're prepared to pay for your children to be abused by big companies, just in order to feel that you're a good parent, in order to meet your own addiction. That's pretty severe. Can you see, as a parent, coming face to face with that would be a primary thing you need to come face to face with? Because you're actually willing for big companies to exploit your own children, and you're willing to help the big company exploit your own children. Like, that blows me away. That things have become so distorted in terms of reality that parents are willing to see their own children exploited by multinational, multi-billion-dollar companies, and the parents themselves are willing to pay for it. That shows you how much you're willing to meet your own addiction. That's extreme, if you think about it. That's like paying someone to abuse your child, and be willing to pay for that, because that's what's happening. Your children are being abused through these things.
And it's like abuse. It's purposeful. These corporations know what they're doing. They produce nothing.
They have designed their apps specifically for these addictions.
To feed on addictions, to create addictions, to inflame addictions, to shame people who aren't meeting addictions. Like, really, really dark stuff. And that's their sole purpose. They create nothing else. That is all they do, and they chew up so much of the Earth's resources in terms of
energy
power.
Alone.
Like electrical energy, is
there's
incredible.
There's whole server farms that are as big as cities in terms of the amount of power they draw, just to meet this one demand to feed the addictions of the populace. And then we wonder why we're needing to have these big wind farms everywhere and these big this everywhere. Because we're monsters when it comes to using power, because every fast addiction being met comes from a technical device. It's instant gratification. Historically, that wasn't the case. Historically, instant gratification wasn't even possible. Now it's become possible.
Yeah.
Right, where you can instantly gratify an addiction the moment you have it, the moment you need it, gratify it with a bit of tech, and then it's... But that's all got its subsequent... There's all whole heap of principles about power, authority, all these other things now, where these companies that are managing all of this to make money off of people, and in particular make money off of children, because that's where they get... They know you parents, they know you are addicted to thinking you're a good parent. And they know that all they've got to do is get your child to ask for something and you'll probably want to buy it for them, right? They know this, and they are manipulating it on purpose to make money out of your children and you.
Yeah, because they have trends going on. And
not
then
only
all
that,
the
to
kids
get your
that.
children engaged when they're 5 means that by the time they're 25, they can't live without it. They are so embroiled in the addiction, they cannot live without it. So people worry about all these conspiracies, right? That's a major conspiracy based upon money, and the parents are willing accomplices based on an addiction about being a good mum and dad. Now that is a huge principle of love, truth, honesty, self-responsibility. There's all these principles involved in that, and because we sacrifice them morally, we have these moral sacrifices, we do it. And we don't even understand, even as parents, most parents don't understand, they are assisting the manipulation and exploitation of their own children. Yeah. For the rest of their life. It's going to affect the child the rest of its life. And that's what they're assisting. That's a major problem, just to make you feel like you've been a good mum or dad.
Yep.
Yeah. It's so huge, isn't it, when you think about it?
Yeah, no, it feels horrible.
Yeah. No. But see, the average person doesn't want to hear any of this. It's like, it can't be that bad, can it? But if you look at what's happening, it's full on. And this doesn't even cover things like the sexual manipulation of your children using these social apps. Or like the abusive sexual interactions with children that are occurring over these apps, and all of that. I haven't even touched any of that, right? And the unwillingness of the companies to deal with any of that because they need the children on the app to make the money out of them that parents are paying for.
Yeah.
If you take the children off these apps, you would take away 1/4 to 1/8. 3/4 to 7/8 of all of their income. Instead of being a billions, instead of being a $1 billion company, they'd be a $125 million company instead.
Yeah.
Right. They know the way to do it is leverage the child at their youngest age possible, and then you'll have them for life.
It's quite hard to hear.
Yeah. And the average parent just ignores these facts. They are facts. Yeah. And if you're connected with God, you will feel these facts. You will feel the intent of the companies. You'll feel the intent of the parents. You'll feel that the children are really unwitting pawns in a much larger game. And unfortunately, no parent is even showing them that they are unwitting pawns.
I feel like when technology came along, I never would give my kids phones. I feel like the God conscience was there telling me no. But I gave in.
The average parent does, because even their own children are implying, I bet you're a bad mum. Everybody else has got
Everyone else has got it. I'm going to be left out. I'm going to get bullied.
Plus, it's a safety thing. Plus, they play on
the health and safety for sure.
It's like, I'm going to be safer this way. I'll be able to call you when I'm in trouble, and all this kind of stuff.
But then I think, well, I didn't have one, and I was okay. Kind of.
I survived my entire childhood without one.
Yeah, we all did.
Yeah. But also like you said, you're in touch with the conscience about don't give them phones. Yeah. But there's a lot more to it than that, isn't there? If you think about
not in touch with the addictions.
Yes. The addictions involved, your addictions to not being shown up as a bad mum.
Yeah.
But also the education required to educate your kids about what is an addiction, what is out, just what you were just talking about. There's all these multinational companies who are going to try to exploit you in terms of your emotions, feeling like if you're not pretty, you're not worth anything. If you're not popular, you're not worth anything. If you don't have enough money in the bank, if you like, all of these things are part of the education we need to give to children to understand, hey, I'm much more than this physical body, but also my will is very important, and the way that I engage it is going to affect my future. So at some point, your child is going to have the option to purchase a phone. Are you educating them about what are you going to do with that phone when you get it? Is it going to be a tool, or is it going to? Are you going to be its tool?
Yeah.
Are you going to use it for productive things, or is it going to see you as another cog in a machine that they can sap for funds, for energy, for all of these things? So
and also to understand the tech involved in such a way that you understand the energy requirements of using that tech. Yeah. It's like, it's like all this AI. Most people on Earth are like quite enamoured by it, but it's using huge amounts of resources of the Earth. One AI, huge amounts of resources. Your mobile phones, there needs to be a power station at the other end, powering an antenna at the other end. And then there needs to be your phone charged up on this end. And then there needs to be a whole heap of computers and everything that route all of those calls. And then there needs to be, and all of that is energy. All of that is huge amounts of energy just to meet your addiction. Now, you need to teach your children, is it loving for you to consider utilising the environment and destroying the environment just so that you can feel good about yourself? Is that, that's something we need to teach our children. That's not a loving purpose, right? The loving purpose would be maybe to communicate, or maybe to warn somebody, or maybe for some other purpose like that, but not just for the sake of meeting my addiction. To have all that power and all that energy being chewed up just to meet my addiction, how destructive am I towards the environment thinking this way?
Yeah.
Right? If we educate our children this way at a young age when they were going to school, how many of them would have a rebellion against getting a mobile phone by the time they're a teenager?
Yeah.
They'd say, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
You're destroying our environment with these things. Wow. You're mucking up our life with these things. You're causing us to be prey to these big companies with these things. What are you doing, Mum? Buying me a mobile phone, you silly woman.
Pray for the day.
Do you know what I mean? No, most parents don't. They pray for the day when they just feel like they're a good parent.
Yeah.
And the parent and the children think they're a good parent. Yeah. That's really what they want. They're bossed by that.
Yeah.
They're dictated to by that feeling. So, it would be far better if the children were educated from a young age, but the reality is most adults are not educated about all the things that go into the tech that we're using. They're not. They have no idea of all of the resources of Earth that are getting thrown constantly and to higher and higher degrees. Like, the tech is growing at rapid rates, far more rapid than the economies, far more rapid than food production. Any other thing in the world is not growing as much as the tech. And that tech has huge consequences on the resources of the Earth, right? Now, if you're using tech for a purpose of education, well, that's now a better purpose, isn't it? Now I'm educating people. If you're using tech for the purpose of communication, but only essentials, that's understandable. If you're using tech to warn people, that's a good thing. If there's problems,
there's a fire,
a bushfire, then having the potential to warn them, great thing. Yeah. But if you're using tech just to gratify your own personal addictions, that is so selfish. And on top of that, it's destructive, because if everybody's doing it, billions of people are doing it, the environment is going to get destroyed so quickly because of it that in 20 years' time, we're hardly going to have any of those resources left to eat and drink, let alone use a phone. Yeah. This is where it's headed. And there's plenty of warnings. You can see it happening everywhere. There's just more and more and more demand on the environment because of the technology we're imbibing and using, more and more demand. And there's plenty of factual information out there about these things, about how much energy these things really use. Not, a lot of people say, but it's only just my phone.
Yeah.
But in order for everyone to have them, there has to be connection points, there has to be switching occurring, there has to be all of that has to be powered 24/7, every day of the week, forever, in order for it to happen. And all of that is coming out of this earth that is our home future, our future home.
So the information's out there, but we don't really want to know.
How many parents want to know?
Yeah, we don't want to know because we're in our addiction.
You're in your addiction to be a good mum. You don't want to know. Like, you don't want to know. You don't want to know that all this is happening and you're supporting it. You don't want to know you're supporting the exploitation of your own children. You don't want to think that that's how bad a parent you're actually being. You don't want to know any of these things. So what do? You just ignore the facts.
Yeah.
That's how the average person does unloving things on earth, by ignoring truth, by ignoring the facts. That's how you get away with it, by ignoring the truth, ignoring the facts. If you loved the truth principle, you would never do that. You'd go, what's involved in my mobile phone? I want to find out every bit of energy it uses, really, all the things behind the tech, what's got to go on and happen with the tech. And remember, your mobile phone is not just one tech. It's not just the communication. It's every social media app. That has its own tech. Every social media presentation has its own servers, its own. What energy is actually being used, and how much am I personally sharing in the growth of this terrible exploitation on earth? But the average person was presented with the facts. You wouldn't want to use a mobile phone. Or if you did, it would only be for
1 minute.
Very
Total
essential
essentials.
services.
Yeah, whereas now it's just app after app after app.
That's right.
There's more apps.
Yeah.
every
The
day.
same applies with like eating meat, and the same applies with a lot of other things, of course. There are principles involved, and the amount of earth resources that are being used are so great, and the amount of destruction of the earth is so great that our children in 20 or 30 years' time are going to be lucky to have children and be able to even pay for having a child.
Yeah.
That's how severe it is. It's going to be so expensive to eat and to drink that the average person is going to really struggle. And you look at it worldwide as well. The average person now cannot buy a home.
Yeah.
That's because of all the Earth's resources we're using. All of the Earth's resources are going up in price.
Yes. Yeah.
The higher they go in price, right, because of course they become more scarce the more we use them, the higher they go in price, the less people can have them. So it's only rich people that can have them.
Yeah.
So the poor people suffer first, and then the richer people next, and then the most rich people last, right? But unfortunately, we're all participating in this direction through our choices. And the parents are doing it mostly because they're the ones with the funds to support this. Yeah. The children are, like I said, unwitting pawns in a larger game of manipulation of their future.
Yeah, yeah. When I tell people about the meat, because I saw it myself, even driving through from Villarreal down to here, and you go through Alentejo and it's destroyed.
Yeah.
It's just cattle. The soil is decimated.
Yeah.
But when I tell people about that, there's this kind of like fad going around at the moment of the carnivore diet.
Of course.
Where, you know,
my
people,
addictions are more important.
Yeah, and also people are saying, no, it's really healthy and we need protein, especially as we're getting older. And also there have been some people that I know that have lost lots of weight from the carnivore diet, and they look well, maybe just for a year or so. And
well, they usually end up with body problems that develop over a few years, and then they end up in hospitals with cancers and other problems that develop after that. But initially, yes, it all looks good, just like most addictions.
Yeah.
All looks good.
Just like picking up a mobile phone looks good.
Yeah.
Right at the beginning.
Yeah. But we're not really thinking about the consequences, not of us, our own bodies, but also the environment.
That's right. Yeah. And that's a big consequence. You're basically saying, I'm going to take what I want out of the environment right now, and my children are going to suffer for it.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to happen. Your children will suffer for it. So we're fundamentally saying, I don't want to love my children.
Yeah.
Even though we all think we do.
Even though we think we do. We think we're being a good mum or dad, getting all these things for them. But actually, we're not loving them really, because we don't understand the full ramifications of what's going to happen in their future.
Yeah. And that's because we're so opposed to the truth principle, actually.
Yeah.
Because it's not like this information isn't available.
Yeah.
It's all there.
It's all there.
Yeah.
But
everybody knows rainforests are getting destroyed. This is happening. That's happening
every
all around the
5
world.
minutes. It's all
The
getting.
seas are getting polluted. Everybody knows.
It's being reported even
Yeah.
in mainstream news.
Not very often, because people are more interested in their addictions. But
Yeah.
Well,
it is
not many
reported.
people are reading it.
That's right.
Yes.
Not many people are accessing it, but it's there. I'm interested and I read it
Yeah,
every
it's
week.
available.
Every day I can see an article about that stuff. But most people are so opposed to the truth because it will challenge their addictions. And
They don't want to give them up.
yeah, even the people who initially seek the truth often end up in an angry state of hopelessness and rage and nihilism, and it's all just the end. Rather than seeing, no, there's actionable things I can do, but it's going to challenge all my addictions.
Yeah.
And that might mean feeling some pain. So actually it's either denial or complete hopelessness, which is really rage.
So all these climate activists are out there with their mobile phones, eating meat, saying how terrible it is.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of hypocrisy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what we've got to do is use these things for essential things only. If the tech's available, I don't have any problem with tech being available. What I have a problem with is making it so involved in your addictions that now your addictions determine its usage.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yep. Your addictions determine its usage. It's going to destroy the planet. Just like your addictions destroy relationships, it's going to destroy the planet as well.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. And very few people are aware of even the facts involving the way it's destroying the planet.
Yeah.
Very few people want to know.
Yeah.
We just want them met, you know.
Well, yeah, because when we really know about it and we really feel about it, it just feels really yucky, and it's
And
coming
you
to
sort of
terms
feel
with
like,
it.
whoa, I can't do that,
Yeah.
you know. Like what I wanted was one phone in our house.
That's what we had for a long
That's
time.
what we had for like maybe the whole time up until about 3 years ago. One phone in the house. Because the least amount of use of resources, the least amount was the goal. But because there is like now we have to have different accounts because the bank says you got to, even if
You
you're married or
can't.
whatever, you can't join everything and blah, blah, blah. And it's just a pain in the neck. And now, and also, you know, because of we're traveling with tech, for educational purposes, there was some point to it. But even then, it's like, I don't want to use it because I know behind it, like most of the time mine's turned off. Not. That's why many of you, when you try to contact me, you can't.
Well, nobody tries, darling.
Nobody tries. Like at home, nobody tries.
That's why everyone talks to me, literally.
Or they come around and visit me, you know, if they want to talk.
Yeah, even better.
No, hardly anybody tries because they know it's probably turned off.
Yeah.
You know, the only time he turns it on is when he needs to use it.
Yeah.
The rest of the time it's off. And so, you know, and that's the same with everything we have, really. It should be that way, shouldn't it? The only time you really need it is when you need to use it, and then you turn it off, you know. That's, you know, we notice here in Portugal and in Europe continually, the lights are burning 24/7. Like at night, it's going all night. And we're there trying to get to sleep, and there's this light shining in our bedroom windows. Go, why aren't they turning off these lights? Right, it's right in our. You got to put blackout blinds, and now they're actually doing it, aren't they? Like we've hired now 2 homes have complete blackout blinds just to stop the light that could be stopped by just somebody flicking a switch. You know what I mean? But why? Because everyone's afraid of their safety.
Yeah.
They've got to have it burning 24/7. How much energy is that taking? And also energy at a time when it's hard to produce energy, the night. You know, when the sun's hitting the earth, you can produce energy much more easily. When the sun's not on that side of the earth, you know, then you have to produce it in the dark. That's going to use a lot of the earth's resources. Turn off the damn lights all over the world. Imagine if we all turned off the lights every night.
The
In
street
fact,
lights.
there was some experiments that were done
Yeah.
with that. Right? Recently, in some country, I forget what it was, where they all decided they were going to. The government decided they were going to turn off the light overnight. They saved a huge amount. They saved 1/4 of the energy. No, it wasn't 1/4. It was 1/2 of the energy of the entire country was saved by just turning the lights off overnight.
Wow.
So you don't need to put up extra poles. You don't need to put up extra. You just need to turn off the lights occasionally. You know what I mean? Turn off the power occasionally. But we don't want to do it because it meets our addiction.
Yeah.
Our addiction, fear addiction.
Yeah.
You know, our addiction for safety. because we don't think we're safe, but we actually are.
Yeah.
We've got addiction for social media. We don't want to go to bed when it's dark.
I was going to say that. Is it then loving that when the sun goes down and it gets dark for us to really go to bed?
You've been designed to go down with it.
Save energy.
Yeah.
You've been designed to go to sleep with it. That's how God designed you. And to wake up with the sun in the morning. But most people don't do that. They stay up longer, and people stay up we're noticing in Western countries a lot to midnight or 1 in the morning. And then they're using all that extra power all that time. And then in the mornings, they're not getting up until later. Or if they're getting up earlier, you can see why people are unhealthy because they, are not getting enough sleep.
Well, that's why they need coffee.
Yeah.
Which is
start the day. There's another addiction, another destruction of the environment. Coffee. First up, give me a kick. Now I can get going, type of thing, and even that's an addiction. If you could look at how much of rainforests have been destroyed just on coffee plantations, it'd shock you. The average person would be absolutely shocked about how much is getting destroyed just for that one purpose, right? And yet that addiction is there because most people are not getting enough sleep. And they're not turning off the lights when they, don't need to turn on lights if you don't need them overnight, do you?
Yep.
You could just have them no lights, couldn't you?
Yep.
Eat before sundown, and you don't need to eat after that, and go to bed because you're going to bed, and wake up sun up.
Yep.
And then you'd be using a lot less energy. And if every person on earth in Western society decided to do that, we would halve our energy requirements overnight.
Yeah. What about people who, work for a company and they're not getting home till like 6 or 7 at night, and so everything is then later?
That's completely unloving. They should be getting home well before dark. So why are we creating jobs like this? Well, because of the addictions involved in what those jobs usually produce. That's why we do that, right? Or, there are some countries where, yes, it is dark early.
Yep.
And under those circumstances, you might want some lights. But, and then, so I'm not against them. I'm just saying, there's a lot of decisions we could make in harmony with getting rid of our addictions, which would also get rid of huge amounts of the Earth's resources being utilised for no purpose other than to meet our addictions.
Yeah. And if we all actually did this, then it would actually make a bit of difference. If there was...
If one person does it and educates another, then it's possible that another might do it, and then they educate another, and then another might do it. So Mary and I... We've been going to bed at sundown for I don't know how long, like maybe the whole time I've known you, close to. Yeah. Everyone around us where we live now generally goes to bed at the same time.
Sometimes we have dinner together and we start really late, like 11.
8 o'clock or something.
Oh, no. Sometimes we're really late, like 11 p.m. And then the next day we're all like...
The next day we're all knackered, like absolutely
It's like we've got a hangover and we haven't drunk for 15 years. But we feel so out of whack because we stayed up that...
and we're still getting up at 4 in the morning when the sun comes up. So, it's pretty hard on you. Yeah. So you learn, don't go to bed at 11, go to bed at 8 or 7 when the sun goes down. And that's what we do. And you use less energy. You're using less of the Earth's resources. It's more in harmony with love, the principle of love, more in harmony with it. So this is, the average person is, like, you wanted to raise the issue of the principles of love in the family, but actually it touches every single area of our life. The food we eat, what we drink, what we put on, what we wear, what choices we make with our clothing, with our shodding, our shoes, what choices we make with vehicles. It's everything, and don't even get me started on the whole electric vehicle thing, because that's what an illusion, an illusion of now we're in tune with the environment. No, you're not. There's a whole heap of problems with those things that haven't been resolved. And so why are we going to another tech that just hasn't just creates more problems?
Yep.
Like toxic
batteries.
Problems. And also all of them are driven by server farms that are downloading software to them all the time that have to be on 24/7. So, again, we're not assessing all of this. We're just going along with it and going, I'm now conscious, and you're not. Yeah, not conscious of the reality, God's reality of how God sees it.
It's sort of like tech. humans are becoming so entranced by how clever we feel we are, as a race,
Yes.
that we're so clever and we're really progressing. We're really advancing with all this tech and all the vehicles and all the software and the AI and all of these things, when really we're driving ourselves to hell.
Into oblivion.
Yeah, at increasing velocities. And we're trying, actually, a lot of it comes back to trying to avoid God's authority.
Yeah.
Because God is asserting authority over when the sun comes up and when the sun goes down, and how the laws of even the most basic laws of the environment
Of nature work.
And we're saying, oh no, we've overcome all that. We're cleverer than that. And it's gonna lead to, it's a collision course with reality. It's just how long it's going to take.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when our children are the most affected by the choices we make, surely that should be motive enough to stop what we're doing.
Yeah.
But unfortunately it's not, because we don't love children as much as we think we do. Because a lot of times parents are really in love with their addictions first before they love their children.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the problem. So again, breaking the principles. Humility is loving, would be loving to get rid of your addiction, not to love your addiction. Yeah. So we sort of see the principles apply to every facet of life in a very practical manner.
Yeah.
Rather than, being a discussion about, philosophy, it becomes a discussion about real life.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if a person lives in harmony with that, with God's version of real life, then you can bring a lot of your life into harmony while still potentially using things that you need to use that humans create, but we'll do it in a much more judicious and careful manner so that it doesn't destroy the lives of our children and their grandchildren and our grandchildren.
So applying the principles is not, as you said, putting a list of rules on the fridge. No more mobile phones. No. When we're seeking God's principles, we understand, there's many ways I can use the resources at my disposal. And if I do them in harmony with God's principles, that's going to benefit everyone. If I do it out of harmony with God's principles, that's going to cause pain and suffering for everyone.
Yeah. In fact, if you use the earth's resources in harmony with the principle, as Mary was saying, Earth itself would improve.
Regenerate.
It would regenerate if we did things in harmony with the loving principles. We have the potential as humans to make more intelligent decisions and help the earth recover. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Rather than get further destroyed. We have the potential to change it, if we live in harmony with these principles, to actually change the environment to the point where there's no more wars, there's no more suffering, there's no more pain, there's plenty of food for everyone, plenty of water for everyone, plenty of places to live for everyone. We're using less and less and less of the earth's resources to produce those things because we're doing it in harmony with the way it's been designed to be done, right? And you can see, if we did that, not only would we be living on an earth that's quite damaged now, but in the future we'd look forward and go, it's going to be less damaged in the future, not more.
Yeah. But if we carry on the way we are,
it's going to be much, much worse. Yeah. And the writing's on the wall has been on the wall for a long time now.
Yeah. I think a lot of people can feel it as well. That the earth is diminishing. There's not a lot of hope or optimism when I talk to people about it.
There are many people who are still in denial of the full results, but less and less happening, particularly with younger people. There's more and more awareness. But even with all that,
we're still in our addictions.
Correct.
Yeah. And even if people are willing to measure the environmental costs, they're very resistive to measuring the moral degradation that's occurring. And that's really the key to turning the whole thing around, is wanting to change that morality to become God's morality.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good place to finish, is it?
Yeah,
for the moment. I know you didn't get to ask all your questions.
That's okay.
And maybe we will have an interview where you will ask those questions. But maybe also this discussion might form the foundation for the answers to those questions.
Yeah.
Because without sort of a discussion like this where we talk about the practical principles as a whole and how it all works and the net consequences of not living in them, then of course we don't have much faith about applying the principles in day-to-day situations.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, pleasure. Yeah.
Thanks, Yvette.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for having us, you and Andy, having us here this couple of days.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been
Thank
really
you for
nice.
coming back.
Yeah, it's been really nice to come back.
Yeah, it's been good.
Yeah.
And hopefully you guys have enjoyed yourself today too. I know your participation not so involved today, but there's a lot of things. Sometimes in having a discussion like this, there's a lot of things you can say quite quickly without having the addictions of the audience to worry about to sort out in the process. And it gets you have the ability then to share a lot more truth in a shorter period of time sometimes. So that's why we like having these interviews. Make sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
No worries, guys. Well, we're going to be we're going to probably pack up tomorrow, I think. It's pretty late now, isn't it? Probably be 4:30 or something.
My tech failed me.
What is it? 10 to 5, yeah, okay. Yeah, so we're going to pack up tomorrow morning, or tomorrow after we had a decent sleep, let's say. But thank you all for coming.
Yeah.
Hopefully you've learnt something in the process.
Yeah.
Been educated somehow. Yeah.
Great to see you guys. And we're off to Canada next week. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much.
No worries, guys. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so we're looking forward to the next part of our trip now and
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Gosh.
see what discussions we have with the Canadians.
Yes. Yeah.
More about prayer?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Prayer?
hopefully more about prayer, God's laws, prayer, God's love, but also maybe a bit of a mix like we've done this time as well.
Yep.
Down here, where there'll be some mediumship as well we'll be doing and other things like that. So yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if it'll be this trip, but I'm very hopeful to do talk together about the principles of ethical mediumship and stuff, and there's some interest in that. So we'll do that. Yeah.
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 Did
So-
you enjoy yourself during this event? Did you enjoy?
Yeah.
It's nice.
What we like here, and this is something we're trying to achieve next year, is what we like here is when you've got a bit smaller groups, you get to have a bit more of an intimate experience.
Yeah.
And you also get to have a more individualized experience, yeah?
Yeah.
And that can be very, very helpful for people who are aspiring to have a relationship with God, because they start to understand things at a deeper level than they otherwise would in a bigger group. So what we're thinking of doing next year is more along the lines of having smaller groups here in Portugal or somewhere in Europe, actually. But at this stage, we've now modified it from England, where we're thinking, when in England we said maybe 3 locations. When we come here at the start, we thought maybe 2 locations. Now we're thinking maybe 1 location. And actually what we're thinking of is having 1 stay in Europe, 1 stay in North America every year.
So that means people who really want to come each year in each continent can have at least 1 event in their continent.
We're also thinking about making the events smaller but longer. So what that means is we're thinking about having a 2-day weekends bookended with each other, and then a 2-day in the middle with some practical stuff happening, and that's like 1 event. And then we do that again, so we do that twice.
With maybe 50 or 60
in the same
people
location.
in each one. Yeah.
So that way we still get to see a similar amount of people that we've seen in this particular that we'll see in this particular trip, but it's more of an intimate experience.
And it's like having these last 2 days, say, and then you'd have a couple of days off, and then you'd have 2 days outdoors doing a humility and practice, then you have a day off, and then another couple of days, and then that's your event for 2026, an assistance group mixed with the humility and practice event.
And maybe you need the mic though, because we're talking now without the mic.
We should
Somebody
finish
got
anyway.
the mic? But that's what we're thinking of, Pierre. And that's what we want to try to do next year, just because we feel it would be more effective than what we've been doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been good to come, you know, just for weekends these first couple of years, because it gave a lot of people who hadn't ever been before just a chance to come and, as Andy said in the break, suss us out a little bit and, you know, decide, is this for me, isn't this for me?
Yeah.
And now that we've done that for a couple of years, it's nice to give people an opportunity to have a bit more extended experience and see what you think of that. So
Yeah.
that's our dream.
So that's our goal.
Yeah.
A lot depends on resources as well as organisation, really, and to finding the right locations.
Yeah.
So that's will be our goal over the coming year, to do all of that. So we're sort of expecting that we'll probably be back, probably here in Portugal, if not here, somewhere else in Europe. Probably going to be July, August period sort of thing. We're not certain yet, because some venues that we've been approaching at this stage are saying to us that the best time for us to come to their venue is in July, sort of early summer, because that's when most people are not there yet, you know, because most people come August, September. So it's looking like it's probably going to be, if it's in Europe, it's probably going to be sort of early summer, but we've got to also check it out in the US as to what is the best time there. In order to make it all work, because we're just going to go from here to the US and then home, here to the Canada and home, or here to Sweden and home. Or, you know what I mean? That we just want to make sure, though, that we visit both continents once a year. Make sense?
Plan.
Yeah, that's what our plans are.
So maybe we'll see you then,
Yeah.
if not before.